What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Superman game that we never got. This made its way online about a week or so ago from a lead designer on the game over on Twitter, and so I'm going to read through their tweets, and we'll talk about it. This is kind of part of just the saga where we've heard these things before, not necessarily about this Superman game, but we've heard stuff about canceled or, getting off the ground and then shut down superhero games in the past. It's always depressing. I do have some thoughts to say about this game, and let's just get into it. So in 2007/2008, I was a lead designer on a Superman game that was never released because the economy crashed hard. It killed our publisher, our studio, Factor 5, and the game. I have multiple unreleased games through my career, but this is the one I mourn to this day. The goal was to present super brawls as they were seen in the cartoons and comics. JLU was our main touchstone. We put together this fast video montage to show what everything we wanted to have as gameplay, and we did it. Aerial brawling, large urban environments, crashing through buildings, fast target engagement, knocking your foe into the next block, shockwaves from hits, impact groves in the streets or building sides, all of it. We hadn't seen a game really deliver on that promise before, and to be honest, I have yet to fully see it delivered since. We had it fully working as a prototype, and we're shifting to full production when the crash hit. All the main gameplay was in place and had been proven out. We also didn't want to rely on traditional gaming crutches of the IP, kryptonite and fighting robots. There were rules about the big blue boy Scout, pre-Snyder obviously, but we were to surround Supes with foes more in his power range. So I still am sad for what could have been. This was supposed to release alongside the sequel to the Bryan Singer Superman Returns film, which also clearly never happened. Not being able to see this through to release remains the biggest regret of my career. Anyway, the above two videos were touchstone reference that we made early in prep to communicate with the team and to the stakeholders, DC, WB, Legendary Brash, where we intended to take the game. If there is interest, I may dig up related materials for my archives. While the gameplay may have been based on JLU, the environments were based heavily on both the Superman animated series and early 20th century artist Hugh Ferris, featuring elevated highways, railways, and airships. In addition to us just appreciating the visual aesthetic and that is worked with the animated series style, the layers of motion at every elevation in the city created a city that felt alive no matter where you went. Important in the game where it takes place in the air. Everything here is blocky by intent. For prototyping, we are establishing playable spaces, activity levels, core functionality, etc. When the art is more refined, too much feedback starts to focus on the art. Ugly art helps to keep the focus on what is needed or where it's needed early on. Just for fun, here are some of the art explorations that were done as well, and I am just kind of jumping around now. In the previous cityscape, it might be noticed, in addition to vehicles for a sense of motion, there was also usable props in combat, as were roof and street level details. More concept art for characters, Parademons, Brimstone, Darkseid, Livewire. Note, I'm not an artist of any of the concept art. I was a game designer focused on gameplay vision and elements. And videos, first playable prototype during pre-production, and this is a target render from pre-production. She also says our game was not going to be an open world game. I know Unseen from 2016 described it as such in 2016, but I'm unsure where that comes from. While our engine could and did support really large spaces, 100 to 120 city blocks were no problem, we decided smaller set pieces, 20 to 25 blocks, worked better for gameplay. So each episode arc would take place on a series of these smaller maps with notable landmarks in each. We were also not planning on limiting play to Metropolis. We had major arcs planned in Metropolis, of course, and we were at least planning on some maps for Ruins of Krypton, Fortress of Solitude, and Smallville. So again, the game that could have been. It sounds awesome. It sounds to be a little bit of a critic here, or to have some skepticism, it sounds great in pre-production. Once you get going, though, is it going to be great, right? That's, this is a sad story. There's no doubt about it, right? Because at its ground level, there sounded like there were a lot of really good things that could have happened with this game, okay? There's no doubt about it. At the same time, I guess I should say, it's not the saddest it could have been because it wasn't in full production, and it's not like we saw trailers and stuff like that, and the game was just kind of taken off the face of the earth. It still was in a way, and you also have to remember, again, she's talking back in 2007 2008, which was a while ago. And you know, I guess what's funny is she even claims, right, like the stuff that they were doing was gonna be in a way revolutionary at the time, and still would be in a way now, because you know, games still kind of haven't pulled it off. The thing that really jumps out to me is the enemies. One of the things I've always talked about in the videos when I talk about Superman and Superman games is how do you balance the power. And actually, there's a couple different parts of her Twitter, you know, thread that addresses that. One of them is the villains, right? The fact that, okay, well, if you're gonna have very weak villains, then they're just kind of cannon fodder, right? But if you do villains that match Superman in power, even if they don't use kryptonite, then they're still powerful. Then you can still use them basically as normal enemies. And I would say that's a pretty simple, and you know, it maybe isn't going to please everybody, and it's not going to solve the issue for everybody in terms of how you think it through, but it's good enough. It's good enough. And then also, you know, the cityscape, how she described how it really takes place and how the map looks, because yeah, if you're in the air, if you're flying around, if you're moving very, very quickly. Now, based off what she says, it doesn't sound like speed, like very fast speed. You know, we've looked at that game, that like the one guy, I think it's Unbreakable or something like that. Whatever the game is where it's just the one person making it, and there's been kind of prototypes or demos, you can fly very, very quickly in that, right? It doesn't sound like that would be in this one. So again, it doesn't sound all absolutely amazing. There sounds like there's still some, we really don't know. I guess like Darkseid maybe would be the villain, right? There are some missing gaps here, but ultimately, again, it does fall into the what could have been. You know, even if it was disappointing, or even if it sucked, it still would have been, you know, a push in that direction. And here we are still. Maybe we'll get a game like it. Maybe we'll get a game much, much better than that game could have ever been. But as of right now, we're not. You know, I mean, there could be a hidden Superman game in development, but as of right now, it's again one of those examples of what could have been. We've gotten that for like Batman. We've gotten that for Superman in the past. We've heard about canceled projects throughout WB Games for, you know, their kind of DC area, and it always sucks to hear. So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? Would you have bought this game back in the day? Do you think it sounds good? All of that stuff, let me know in the comments. Make sure, as always, if you haven't already, you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. Leave the video a like, would definitely help me out. All of our social media is in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Our Twitter, our second channel, also our Patreon and YouTube memberships. If you guys want to support us there, would be very, very grateful. Thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next video.